Hello everyone, I'm Goobasaurus, and this is my speedrun of completing the Pokedex in Pokemon FireRed. This is not what would be considered a legitimate speedrun like the ones on speedrun.com, since those ones only have you obtaining everything that's available to you by just playing the game. I, on the other hand, will be using PK Hex to trade things in like the other two starters, version exclusives, trade evolutions, and Mew. I'll be using the in-game clock, but I'll have a timer on screen so that everyone has a general idea on how far along I am. Note that the end time on the timer could be off compared to the in-game one. The one that matters is the in-game timer. Since I'll be playing on an emulator, I can't actually trade anything into my game without PK Hex, but it also means none of the trade animations play, which add to the timer. I think. So for every trade I make, I will sit and do nothing for a minute, and for every trade evolution I get, I'll sit for 2.5 minutes, since that's around how long the trades and animations would take. Also, it'd definitely be a lot faster if I did things like catch the first evolution Nidoran male, and then the second evolution Nidorino instead of evolving the Nidoran male, but that feels like cheating, so I'm gonna be evolving everything. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's get into the run. I start the game off, name myself and my rival A, and get my starter the Bulbasaur. I'll be naming all my Pokemon A so that the text goes by the fastest. After receiving Oak's parcel and returning it to him, we get the Pokedex and 5 Pokeballs to start our run. On Route 1, we immediately catch 4 Pidgeys and a Rattata. We need the extra Pidgeys to trade for the other starters and Mew, which we get after 3 minutes of trading. We then head over to Route 22 and catch a Spearow and a Mankey. Now this is where I definitely could have been faster overall by just going straight ahead to Viridian Forest, but I wanted to do the rival fight and use Squirtle to deal with his Charmander, but Squirtle needed to get to level 7 to learn Bubble. Simple enough, but I decided to switch train my other guys at the same time just so they could gain some levels, since I was grinding anyway. This resulted to Squirtle dying multiple times to Mankey and many trips back to the Pokemon Center to heal him up. But anytime he wasn't getting the XP, it just meant Charmander was, so the biggest time loss was probably just the amount of walking from the Pokemon Center back to Route 22 repeatedly. Eventually Squirtle learned Bubble and we beat our rival for that sweet trainer cash. I then headed to Route 2 and caught a Caterpie and made my way through the forest where I also caught a Weedle. It's also good to note that I have a route in mind to make this go as fast as possible, since I could catch a Pikachu in the forest, but it's a 1% chance, so it's better to catch him later on. I was a little worried about going into the gym not wanting to wipe and then lose time, but Squirtle made short work of it with Bubble with an unfortunate trip to the center to make sure he was healed up for Brock after the gym trainer. With about an hour of gameplay under my belt, I ended the first day with the first badge. Starting off day 2, we head over to Route 3, fight some trainers, and catch a Jigglypuff. After throwing 5 balls, I hate this thing. I head into Mount Moon and catch a Geodude, Paris, and Zubat. I fight all the trainers and get the Helix fossil, praise Lord Helix. Heading out of Mount Moon, I trade Sandshrew over from Leaf Green after passing Route 4 and head into the second gym. I was hoping to just head in and cheese the fight with a level 15 Bulbasaur by using Leech Seed and Poison Powder, but the first Staryu gets a lucky confusion off his Water Pulse and I hit myself. Then the Starmie crits Swift, and I have no chance. First loss, which is unfortunate not only because of time loss, but also because we need the most money we can get for the end of the game. I also got Bulbasaur leveled up to 16 during the fight and assumed he evolved, but apparently your mons don't evolve if you lose the fight, which I never knew until now. Going into the second attempt and doing exactly what we wanted with the first run was definitely annoying, but Bulbasaur evolved into Ivysaur, so we are neutral. Ending off the second day with an hour per gym definitely feels good, and I'm hoping we beat the 8th gym by the 8-hour mark. Day 3 starts with a grind session as I learned from that gym battle that I need some levels to stand a chance against my rival. During the grind, Squirtle evolves into Wartortle, and Charmander was about to evolve into Charmeleon, but apparently holding B stops evolution. I thought it was only tapping B. Slight time loss. But then a major time loss happens when this kid blocks us twice. I will never forget this. Rattata, having Hyper Fang, thankfully dealt with my rival's Pidgeotto, which I was the most worried about, and the rest of the team was dealt with easily. After going through Nugget Bridge, my Pidgey evolved into Pidgeotto. After healing up, This kid. I fought all the trainers on Route 25 and met up with Bill participating in his fetish, which I am actively judging him for. He gave me the SS ticket and I headed to Route 5, but on the way experienced the most severe time loss by accidentally jumping off this ledge. Brutal. I put Mankey in the daycare and finally evolved Jigglypuff into Wigglytuff. I went through Route 6 and got the old rod, which I swiftly used to catch a Magikarp. I finished off the day trading over a separate Magikarp to get a version exclusive Bellsprout. Remember how I said I wanted to get one badge per hour? Oh well. I started day 4 by running over to Route 11 and catching a Drowsy, which I forgot to nickname, which is some minor time loss. I then ran down into Diglett Cave and ran into an over-leveled Dugtrio on the first encounter, but he didn't have arena trap so we could get out of there. That was a 5% chance and we got it first try. Hope we have this luck when catching the legendaries. We then caught a Diglett and I decided to switch train this as much as possible so the gym would be as easy as possible, especially since we have 3 guys weak to electric on our team. But first I traded a Spearow that I caught on Route 11 for a Farfetch'd named Chiding, and got the bike voucher next door. Now, putting Diglett on the team meant I wanted to evolve either Rattata or Spearow to have a good reason to take it off the team. I decided to go with Rattata since I didn't have to switch train him with Hyper Fang, so he evolved and we got Eradicate. I'd also like to use this time to say how much Spearow has not been pulling its weight. Best move it has is Fury Attack, which can hit 5 times, but you better believe that it is a consistent 2. If it even hits at all. So anytime I send this thing out trying to gain XP but not wanting to switch train it, it usually faints, making it so we can't even switch train it if we wanted to. I absolutely love Fearow from my red Nuzlocke that I did, but I now have great disdain for Spearow. We go through SSM battling all the trainers. I wasn't sure which rooms did and didn't have trainers, so there was definitely time lost trying to find everyone and fight them. Eventually Diglett became a higher level than the rest of the team, so I was feeling pretty confident for the gym. We beat the rival and got the HM for cut. Then we experienced the longest time loss we'll probably ever experience, having to watch the SSN leave. Since I had to experience it, so do you guys. Now that we're all on the same page, we teach Cut to Diglett since we're probably not going to use him after this gym most likely. We fight 2 of the trainers, then try to solve the insufferable puzzle. It took way too long, as it is with most runs. I then fought this last trainer before fighting Surge, and Diglett fainted. I wanted to use him for the fight, but there's no way we're going through the puzzle again, so we go in and it goes terrific. Probably the worst part was just the fact that I hard locked into using poison powder on Raichu after he double teamed, so it didn't hit until after a Vine Whip would have just killed. Oh well, I knew I'd be making dumb mistakes going into it. I end off the day with the 3rd badge. Definitely sucks that the 3rd gym took us 2 hours, but that was a lot of fights in between, so it honestly makes sense. On day 5 I decided I wanted to play 2 hours today, hoping to get the 4th badge before the day ended. I head back up to Route 9, fight all the trainers, and then catch a Voltorb on Route 10. I also finally evolved Spearow fighting Route 9's trainers, now switching him out for Caterpie. Now this is where the entire day went downhill. Rock Tunnel. I completely forgot to get the HM for Flash, so I constantly had to waste time being distracted looking at a map. It was aggravating to say the least. Thankfully, I did get to evolve some Mons while I was in here. Caterpie evolved into Metapod, which swiftly evolved into Butterfree. I then switch him out for Weedle to evolve him into Kakuna, and then into Beedrill. I use an escape rope and switch him out for Magikarp. After a very long and infuriating grind through Rock Tunnel, I realize that I don't have any potions and end up losing on the second to last trainer. God damn it. I spent more than an hour on Rock Tunnel alone. Gained plenty of experience, but it was so annoying having to run around not knowing where I was going and all the while switch training Magikarp. Another big annoyance was actually a new encounter. I found an Onix, which wasted 3 of my 4 Pokeballs before it died. I thankfully found another one and my last ball was able to catch it. But this meant I wasn't able to catch the several Machops that I found in the cave. I was planning on catching it on a different route anyway, but the fact that I could have gotten it earlier was the worst. After finally getting out of Rock Tunnel, I bought some balls, fought some trainers on Route 8, and Magikarp evolved into Gyarados. I could probably make use with him on my team later, but for now he's getting boxed since using him won't advance the Pokedex at all. To finish off the day, I caught a Growlithe on Route 8 and traded for a version exclusive Vulpix afterwards. It was a good thing that I played for more than an hour today. I couldn't imagine going into tomorrow still being in Rock Tunnel. Still though, it sucks how little progress we've made. Good Pokedex progress with how many Pokemon were evolved, but the overall lack of game progress was crippling. Hopefully tomorrow is better. Also, there's no way we're getting to the 8th gym by the 8-hour mark. It's just impossible at this point with Rock Tunnel. Day 6 took us over to Route 7 where we caught a Meowth, which is potentially going to be a huge help with payday since we need a lot of money by the end of this run. We head into the 4th gym, and this is where I realized that Geodude evolves at level 25, which is pretty much on par level-wise with the rest of our team, and that Golem is much better than Dugtrio, so once it evolves, Diglett is definitely out of here. We then fight Erica and find out that we are severely underleveled. She has 2 level 29s while our Pokemon against her are at level 27 and 26. Not to mention literally everyone else on the team besides Ivysaur is weak to her, and even the Ivysaur's setup with Leech Seed and Poison Powder is useless against her team. So we face another loss, losing some more money. That one hurt a lot. I'm getting pretty sick of losing money. After training for a couple minutes, I realized it'd probably be better to head into the Rocket Hideout to grind against the trainers while also getting some story progression in the process. While in there, Geodude evolves into Graveler, so I immediately head out to trade him to evolve into Golem. Golem is honestly one of my favorite Pokemon. Not design-wise, cause gross, but in pretty much every Nuzlocke I've ever done, I end up getting a Geodude and destroying a lot of fights. So it's pretty great to have him by my side once more. We then get Diglett to evolve a couple levels later into Dugtrio, so you know what that means. Goodbye Glass Cannon. We bring Paris in to grind him up, heading back in to finish the hideout. Eventually we make it to Giovanni and have a way closer fight than I would want. His Onix and Rhyhorn were simple enough with Wartortle, but his Kangaskhan was a different story. We had nothing for it, and just like Erica, it was level 29. I never thought I'd have this much trouble with a Giovanni fight in my life, but with Ivysaur landing Leech Seed I worked it out. In fact, since everyone else in the party died and Paris survived a Mega Punch, it got all the XP, which is nice since I want this thing to evolve and get out of here. With this fight, I realized my biggest problem when it came to boss fights. I really have to stop switch training while doing them. Doesn't matter how much XP someone gets if we end up losing time with a loss. No one in the comments bullied me, I was just trying to go fast. So I go back into the gym, this time with Charmeleon out front, and wouldn't you know it, fire does beat grass. We then head over to Route 16 where we catch a Doduo and find the girl who gives us the HM for Fly. Now since the beginning I had planned to leave a Pokemon in the daycare when we first pass it, then go back with Fly to get it back, hoping it was a high enough level to evolve by the time we got back. But not only was the Mankey I left back in day 3 only level 20, still a ways away from evolving, but I completely forgot that leaving someone here costs money for when you get them back. Fuck capitalism, I'll do it myself. We then get an Eevee on the top floor of this random building and immediately trade for 2 more so we can get in the trio once we have all the stones for them. We end the day off by receiving some tea from this nice old lady, and holy shit was today not great. I have to figure out some better way of doing this, or just continue making the same mistakes and being confused why they won't work. We'll see what day 7 brings. Starting day 10, I headed into the game corner and got the 310 hidden coins scattered around the place and proceeded to buy coins until I had enough for 2 Abras and a Dratini. I understand I probably could get an Abra easily with some Great Balls on Route 24, but the amount of grinding I'll have to do for all the evolutions are making me think I'll have enough money by the end of the game for the others in the game corner. I got 2 Abras so I could trade the other for a Mr. Mime named Mimian over on Route 2, which we get. I also got Dratini because I realized that it's going to be the worst when it comes to grinding, so the sooner I can make it part of my regular team and gain levels at the same time as everyone else, the better. I go over to the Pokemon Tower, fight our rival, and all the channelers throughout. I catch a Ghastly after a couple of failed attempts because these things keep cursing themselves to death. Now I know I said I was putting Dratini in for the Switch Train Mon, but I already had Paris on my team, so I decided to go with him until he evolved, which he did at the top of the tower, getting us a Parasect. We get the Pokeflute, and again, I was gonna put in Dratini, but I forgot and just brought in Sandshrew. Oh well, he has to evolve either way. Before heading down to Route 12, we grind in Pokemon Tower to find a Cubone and catch it. Now the next portion is absolutely brutal. I go to catch a Snorlax on Route 12, but he ends up dying to our Leech Seed, which makes no sense to me on why he wasn't resting by the time he hit 2 HP. After killing it, I headed over to the Route 16 Snorlax to catch him instead, but I accidentally killed him the same way. Now you might be thinking, these are the only 2 Snorlax in the entire game. How do you complete the dex now? Well, I saved before the encounter, and after losing it, reloaded the save and waited the amount of time for the encounter that I got beforehand, to keep the time legitimate. It took me 5 attempts, including the one on Route 12, but we finally caught him. I love you, Snorlax, but fuck you. I then grabbed the Super Rod, which I immediately used to catch a Horsey on Route 12. Also on Route 12, we get an Oddish and a Venonat. While fighting trainers on Route 13, Sandshrew evolved into Sandslash, which meant that Dratini was finally making it onto the team. And right away I could feel how slow he levels up. This is gonna take a while. We finish off all the trainers on Route 13 and the 2 at the very top of Route 14 before realizing how long I've been playing and ended off. Officially a week in and I'm a third of the way through. God help me. Hey everybody, Editor Goob here. I just realized that back when I was recording this, I forgot to mention that I caught Ekans back in day 2. So yeah, I caught an Ekans back in day 2. Day 8 was very uneventful because I only played for an hour. I got the experience share after getting through Route 14, which we put on Dratini right away in hopes of getting him caught up with the team. I then fought all the trainers I had access to, which was way more than I had anticipated. During this grind, I started to realize how far behind Wartortle was getting. Maybe it's just Water Gun being a bad move, but he constantly disappoints. So after Dratini caught up with everyone and evolved into Dragonair, I put the experience share on Wartortle. Might not even use him until he evolves or we get Surf. Also, I glanced over it, but having Dragonair is amazing. Never considered actually using one since I usually play Nuzlocke where you don't end up getting one unless you give up the Eevee encounter. Can't wait to use them more. Day 9 begins and with it is immediate fear. I decided to start challenging the Fuchsia Gym and the first trainer had a level 38 Hypno. My highest level guy at the time was my level 34 Golem, so it seemed obvious I wasn't ready. But then I realized trainers who only have one Mon are always over-leveled, so it turned out I was on par with the rest of the trainers. In between I caught a Goldeen, and 2 Poliwags. I had to catch 2 because I need him to trade for a Jinx later. While doing this, Ivysaur evolved into Venusaur. Gotta love how he evolves at level 32 instead of 36. We fight Koga and it goes a lot better than expected. His Coughings were dealt with easily and Muck went down with some magnitudes. The biggest threat is obviously Wheezing, but I decided to just roll out until I missed and then finish him with a self-destruct. Would have been nice getting all the XP from a level 43, but I wasn't about to risk the money loss of losing the battle. With the end of Badge 5, Wartortle evolved into Blastoise. This is great, but the dude still doesn't have a better water move than Water Gun. Oh well, we'll be getting Surf soon. I head into the Safari Zone and the most bountiful and yet most annoying grind begins. There's a lot of Pokemon to get, but some of the encounter rates are extremely low, not to mention the catch rates. The fact that they can run away whenever they please is god awful. Before grinding for any encounters, we get to the end where we get the Gold Teeth and Surf to teach the Blastoise. On the way there, we caught a Nidoran male and an Execute. And now that we have everything we need for plat progression, the true grind begins. We start off with a Rhyhorn, which is followed by a Scyther, which is incredible because if I didn't catch him here, it would have meant spending a lot of money at the game corner. Glad to see the money grind won't be as bad as it could be. I was planning on trading a Nidoran male for a Nidoran female back on the Route 5 to Route 6 tunnel, but we encountered one which is pretty rare, so it worked out. And now for the bane of my existence. Kangaskhan. This thing not only would not stay in the ball, it wouldn't stay in front of me for more than 2 turns. I tried giving it bait, I tried throwing rocks, nothing was making this thing stay. I got lucky and caught it eventually, but this thing now has some unforeseen hatred in my heart. This isn't in the script. I need to just go off on a tangent here. Editor, if you could just pull up how many times I had to encounter this fucking thing before I finally caught it. I was actually freaking the fuck out when I was doing this real time. I could not believe that this was this difficult to catch. We then head over to the next area and catch a Chansey, grabbing a Leaf Stone along the way. It's great that I'm getting all these Pokemon, but the fact that I can't train my team while grinding for these encounters definitely sucks. At the end of the day, I still need to catch a Tauros and grab another Leaf Stone. Hopefully the next day we'll see the end of the Safari Zone. Day 10 was a short one. I caught that Tauros and got the hidden Leaf Stone. I headed out to Silphco and traded for a Pinsir on the way. I forgot to get strength with the Gold Teeth, but we have to come back anyway, so that'll be for a later day. I started Silphco, but then realized I don't remember where to go at all, so I'll have to do some research before tackling this place. Also, I'd like to say that you all may notice a dip in video quality. I was using my friend's really good laptop for the first 10 days of this, but I had to give it back to him after that, so the rest of the run will be on my shitty laptop. Still watchable, but definitely not as good. But y'all probably aren't really here for gameplay anyway, so oh well. Day 11 was pretty uneventful. We got through all of Silphco thankfully, and on the way we got Charmeleon to evolve into Charizard. A great addition to the team. And after Giovanni, got Pidgeotto to evolve into Pidgeot. We also got the gift Lapras along the way. There was a very unfortunate loss when I was trying to teach Golem Rock Blast. I went to replace Tackle and accidentally got rid of Magnitude. And we're not gonna get Earthquake until level 45. God damn it. Sorry again for the quality drop, but the ending will be worth it, I swear. The best part is, I'm writing this in real time, so I don't even know if that's true. Day 12 saw the worst of the recording bugs. Basically, went to the Psychic Gym after switching Pidgeot out for Zubat to evolve while fighting the trainers. Unfortunately, I was recording the game and streaming it for my friends on Discord at the same time, which made the video pause on random frames at random points. So today will be more of a slideshow. After fighting all the trainers in the gym, we also fought the trainers in the fighting dojo until Zubat evolved into Golbat. We then switched him out for Ekans. We then tried to fight Sabrina, but unfortunately lost on the first fight, if you can believe it after seeing this screenshot. For some reason, Ekans didn't win this. The second attempt went a lot better though, with Golem sweeping the team. We then finished the dojo and got Hitmonlee, trading for Hitmonchan after. We headed over to Celadon City and caught 2 Psyduck, one to trade for later. We then traded for a Slowpoke afterward. And some of you might be angry with the fact that I hacked in my Slowpoke to be the level right before evolving, but the Slowpoke you can encounter here can be anywhere from levels 5 to 40, so I'm just gonna say our Leaf Green file got lucky. Even though it doesn't exist. Moral of the day? Don't overclock your computer while trying to record content for YouTube. Day 13 was a big one. Only played for an hour, but we headed to the power plant and caught Magnemite, Pikachu, and Electabuzz. But the biggest challenge was the electric bird himself, Zapdos. It took me 3 resets and over 20 minutes to catch this thing. Granted, our first attempt we didn't give him a status effect because I forgot Dragonair has Thunder Wave, and it kind of doesn't make sense that Zapdos can be paralyzed by Thunder Wave, but I doubt it would have been any faster. But once we got him, he became the perfect replacement for Venusaur, who isn't really needed besides for water types, which Zapdos covers. Also, having a level 50 on the team is very nice. We unfortunately had to go through the power plant twice since I forgot I needed to get the Thunderstone hidden near Zapdos, but that second trip is what evolved Ekans into Arbok. All is well. We head over to Route 19 after bringing in Bellsprout and caught a Krabby, which took longer than I expected. Finding enough trainers on Route 19 brought Bellsprout up to a Weeping Bell, which with the Leaf Stone then brought him up to a Victory Bell. With that evolution done, we go over and grab Drowsy from the box. At the end of the day, we've beaten all Route 19's trainers and somehow didn't catch a Tentacool. I don't know if I just forgot while surfing or if we actually just never encountered one, but I guess that'll be saved for tomorrow. So I'm looking through my script right now. This is completely unscripted. In between days 13 and 14, I somehow don't talk about the Seafoam Islands at all, and that makes pretty much no sense since the only place to get the Articuno is in the Seafoam Islands, and I completed the Dex by the end of this, so I did catch Articuno. So I have no idea how I didn't write it down. I'm gonna hope that my day count is still right and that it happened in between days 13 and 14, because otherwise I just don't know where this day went. But I did go through the Seafoam Islands and I did catch Articuno, so yeah, I don't know. And I'm also looking through my script. I'm assuming I caught a seal in here because it doesn't say I caught a seal anywhere else. I have no idea how I missed this, but yeah, I'm sure I have footage of it, which I'm sure my editor is pulling up right now to show you. But here, let's have a nice little thing. Here's me catching Articuno. Here's how many attempts it took to catch Articuno. And here's me catching a seal? Hopefully, it's somewhere in there. I have no idea why this isn't in the script. I am very confused. Another thing I did in the Seafoam Islands, which I really hope is in a recording somewhere. Gee, I don't know how I missed this. I got 2 water stones down there with Articuno and Seal. What the hell is going on? I also must have caught a Tentacool during this weird in-between. I'm going to go with the script and say that the next day is day 14, but I have a sneaking suspicion that I just did not write down a day of playing where I caught Articuno, Seal, and Tentacool. I'm just gonna say that the next day is day 14. Maybe I did it in day 13 and just didn't write it down. If anyone really cares, just add one day to the final count. But, whew, I'm confused. Hey, so, yeah, Editor Goob here. I did so much in this day. I played for an hour and a half. Like, this was day 14. I just legitimately forgot to write it down in my script, so it didn't happen in my mind. But it did. So, along with catching Aerodactyl, Tentacool, and Seal, I evolved Drowsy into Hypno. I caught a Shelter. I brought the Helix fossil back to the lab, revived Ammonite, traded for a Kabuto. Then I went and got the old Amber and brought Aerodactyl back to life. So that was the real day 14, but for the rest of the video I'm gonna be saying the wrong numbers. So like I said before, just add one more day. But yeah. Oops! Alright, full disclosure, I forgot that I also got a Staryu. Not having this written down in the script has screwed me understanding what happened this day, but I think this is everything. The last thing was a Staryu. Day 14 took us to the Pokemon Mansion, catching a Coughing, which took a couple attempts because first one self-destructed, a Grimer, and a Ditto, which I completely forgot we could even get here. Thought we would have to wait till post-game. Blastoise completely destroyed the Fire Gym, evolving Voltorb into Electrode in the process, and getting us a 7th badge. We switch Meowth in for Electrode, and then we head to what I wish just didn't exist in these games, the Number Islands. We do the whole side quest of finding Lostel. Yes, Lostel. You can tell they spent a long time coming up with this amazing part of the game. Game Corner Guy gave us a Moonstone, and on our trek to Mount Ember, our Meowth evolved into Persian. So we head back to deposit him and withdraw Doduo. Tomorrow we begin the hunt for Moltres. Or it would have been, but later that night I decided to play more and got the most playtime I have yet with this video at 4 hours, making today without a doubt the most eventful. Firstly, I will say that I did something a bit questionable because I thought I could go straight back to the islands after talking to Bill, but apparently I can't come back until post-game once I leave, so I did a reset so that I'd stay to catch what I'm missing. You can see it as cheating, but I see it as not having to wait the rest of the game to catch Moltres. So forward I go. Getting to Mount Ember, we needed to use Strength and Rock Smash, so the ultimate HM slave Charizard came in clutch to now have a full moveset of HMs. Once we catch Moltres, we'll have a much better fire-flying Pokemon, so I see nothing wrong with this. Getting through Mount Ember, I caught a Machop, which I did not expect to get until Victory Road, so that was a very nice find. Unfortunately, it meant we were going into Moltres with only 10 Ultra Balls, since there was no Pokemart on one island. Get ready for a good amount of resets. I believe the end result was around 3, but my editor can put the final number here if it isn't. After all that though, we caught Moltres, completing our set of legendary birds. Again, side note, how did I not write down catching Articuno? We also caught a Ponyta and got a couple of Firestones before leaving the islands. And now we have no reason to ever come back to these stupid islands ever again. Thank the Lord. We traded a Magmar over as it is a version exclusive, and evolved Doduo into Dodrio fighting trainers on Route 21. And with those Firestones, we evolved Vulpix into Ninetales, and Growlithe into Arcanine. Bringing Mankey on, we head back on Route 21 to catch a Tangela and headed over to Viridian City for the 8th gym. While in there, Mankey evolved into Primeape, so we head back to grab my Abra. We go back to the gym and Abra basically immediately evolves into Kadabra, so we head back to trade him into Alakazam. We bring on Ghastly and head back to Giovanni. Of course, with Blastoise, it was a complete sweep, getting us the final badge. We head back over to Route 22 and fight our rival. Definitely scary with his high levels, but we got some strong birds, so we're fine. We get to Victory Road and Ghastly evolves into Haunter, so we head back to trade and evolve him into Gengar. We bring in Cubone and encounter the most annoying part of Victory Road. I try to kill every encounter we find, but that wastes a lot of PP, which we need for the trainers. In fact, there was multiple times we almost wiped on the trainers because our birds were so worn down from all the continuous fighting. And if you haven't noticed, I haven't been using healing items basically this whole time because I want to spend the least amount of money as possible. Anyway, while in there, Cubone evolves into Marowak, so once again we head back to trade him out for Horsey. And after a long trek back, once again Horsey evolves into Seadra. But this time I decided to just get through Victory Road and deal with the next evolution later. And with that, we made it out. Thank Christ! We put in Seadra for Oddish and head back into Vermilion City to get the Versus Seeker, which we're going to use to evolve all our remaining Pokemon fighting these bikers on Route 16. We also grab the Amulet coin on Route 16 and give it to Dragonair while we grind so that we can get the Porygon money. Tomorrow is the beginning of the grind, the one that I've been dreading since the beginning. We have a lot of things to evolve and a team who could maybe take the Elite Four, but I'm not taking any chances on that. Hopefully I'll play enough tomorrow to get through said grind, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a multiple day thing. Day 15 and the grind is definitely going to be a multiple day thing. Firstly, just want to say that my grind is these bikers on Route 16 using the Versus Seeker. It's what I see all the big shots like my Drybread doing, so I figure it's probably the fastest, but if anyone knows something faster, please let me know in the comments for future runs of FireRed. Doing this grind, we immediately evolve Oddish into Gloom, and then into Vileplume using a Leaf Stone. We go to the department store and buy a Firestone so we can finally evolve the trio of Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon. And please don't think I ordered those by favoritism. In fact, it's the opposite direction. I know of Flareon's crimes against Lord Helix in Twitch Plays Pokemon. We opt to replace Agility for Surf on Dragonair, but I misclicked and got rid of Thunder Wave. Oh well, I guess the only thing we have left to catch is a 100% certainty anyway. We bring in our two Poliwags and evolve one into Poliwhirl. We then head back to Cerulean City to trade him for a Jinx named Zinx, which has a piece of mail on her. I had no idea you can't deposit Pokemon that have mail on them, so this was weird being the first time seeing it. And no, I did not read the letter. That would be time loss. We evolve our other Poliwag and use the Water Stone on Poliwhirl to get a Poliwrath. And I gotta say, I kind of hate evolutions where they look the exact same during the evolution process, so you're not expecting anything cool even with the silhouette, like Poliwrath and Electrode. Although I guess I can't blame the one, he's literally a ball. We finish off the day grinding a bit more after evolving Execute into Executor using a Leaf Stone. I'm gonna take a guess and say, including today, the grind is gonna last 4 days total. We'll see how that prediction goes though. Day 16 and that prediction seems like it's gonna be wildly off. The grind continues as Venonat evolves into Venomoth and Goldeen evolves into Seaking. I also evolve our Nidoran male into a Nidorino, which instantly evolves with a Moonstone into Nidoking. This is all well and good, but then I found out that Rhyhorn, the next mon I decided to level up, doesn't evolve until level 42. It's bad enough we have to get Dragonair up to 55, now we gotta take a Rhyhorn from 25 to 42. I wish I knew this earlier, I would have been grinding ever since we first got him. The good news at least is that the Amulet coin is way too OP. I was hoping to get up to 200,000 to buy that Porygon, but turns out there was nothing to worry about because we're already at 300,000. Worst part is, we can't even use that money to buy rare candies or something. Maybe we can spend it on putting Pokemon in the daycare? But we're taking so little steps fighting these 6 trainers that it'd probably be a time loss. All I know is A's strongest Mon is at 63. We probably could beat the Elite Four and him with revives, full restores, and our team of Dragonite and the 3 legendary birds, but a part of me also doesn't want to risk it. Saying that out loud actually sounds kinda dumb now, especially considering how much money we have. I'm gonna evolve Dragonair with the bikers and then use the Elite Four to train these guys up, as they're definitely better XP than a level 33 Weezing. Day 17. The Day of Reckoning. We grind until we get Dragonite, buy Porygon and Clefairy, and head over to the Pokemon League. Also, side note, we had 400,000 Pokedollars after grinding. The Amulet coin is fucking insane. And we accidentally bought an extra Abra because I was spamming A. Oops! We head into the Elite Four, and remember how I said I'd buy full restores and revives? Well, I forgot, so this attempt was a bust. It also taught me we should get Thunderbolt for Zapdos. After doing that, we actually buy healing items and try the Elite Four again. Lorelei goes well with Zapdos, though unfortunately having to switch into someone after he faints. Bruno goes the same with Articuno, being able to deal with everybody. Agatha was extremely annoying. Her Gengars just kept putting us to sleep, and I didn't want to waste full restores, so I used the Poke-Flute every time, and whenever you use it, it makes this sound. Every single time. We got put to sleep a lot, but eventually we made it through. That fight also made Rhyhorn evolve into Rhydon. Finally. Lance was also a pretty clean sweep, with Zapdos dealing with Gyarados and Articuno dealing with the rest. Aerodactyl was scary with getting the Omni boost from Ancient Power, but it worked out. And with this fight, Slowpoke evolved into Slowbro, one of my favorite Pokemon by the way. Now for the real challenge, Pokemon Champion A. Zapdos dealt with Pidgeot, getting rid of a full restore in the meantime. I didn't expect a one-shot, but Articuno dealt with Rhydon, and the big threat came out, Charizard. I was hoping Zapdos could deal with him, but he fell to enough Fire Blasts. Dragonite was able to deal with the rest though. Zapdos came back out to deal with Gyarados and Alakazam, and he even dealt with Exeggutor before Alakazam's Future Sight could hit us. And with that, we're the Pokemon Champion with 131 Pokemon registered in the Pokedex. 20 more. I doubt I'll be able to do all the rest tomorrow, since we have to go back to grinding on the bikers, because I refuse to go back to the Number Islands for whatever side quest happens there. I haven't checked, but I do think we dealt with most of the higher level evolutions, so I'm pretty sure it won't last longer than 2 days. Oh, almost forgot. We ended off the day evolving the mascot Pikachu into Raichu. Felt appropriate. Day 18, and there's great news and bad news. The great news is that after you beat the game, these 2 bikers have teams of almost level 50s, when they had almost 30s before, making grinding a lot faster. The bad news is the fact that I definitely could have grinded a lot faster if I focused all my efforts into just these 2 trainers, but for some reason I decided to fight the under-leveled trainers, just depending on who popped up on the Versus Seeker. Oh well, it's not like there hasn't been loads of other time loss that could have been avoided. Just gotta keep rolling with the punches. To start off the long list of evolutions, we have Magnemite into Magneton, Krabby into Kingler, Seal into Dugong, and Tentacool into Tentacruel. That's around when I realized Shelder needs a Water Stone, so I went and bought that, getting Shelder into Cloyster. The most annoying evolutions of the night got dealt with Ammonite evolving into Amistar, and Kabuto evolving into Kabutops. With them out of the way, we get another Water Stone to evolve Staryu into Starmie, and continue the grind. We would have had Grimer into Muck at his standard level, but I was distracted watching UFC and accidentally pressed B spamming and not looking. Next level we got him though. Coughing evolved into Wheezing and finished off the night with Machop into Machoke and then into Machamp with a trade. That was 4 hours of playtime because I was watching UFC while I play, so there was plenty of time to just grind. Also, side note, how appropriate is it that the last evolution of the night is Machamp while watching MMA? Seeming like my prediction was only a day off, and if I played longer I definitely would have finished, but 4 hours of playing sounded like enough to me. Tomorrow brings us the finale of the run. Day 19, the final day. We started off evolving Clefairy into Clefable with a Moonstone. Then we grind to get Psyduck into Golduck, female Nidoran into Nidorina, and then into Nidoqueen with my last Moonstone. We fly over to Route 18 to trade Golduck for a Lickitung named Mark. A Lickitung named Mark. Fucking love this guy. Back to grinding, we get the final evolution we need, Ponyta into Rapidash. Now I thought that we just went straight to Cerulean Cave to catch Mewtwo, but apparently that side quest in the Number Islands is required to get Mewtwo. I'm used to original Red and Blue where you can just go straight there, but in this version, this dickhead says, you have to become Pokemon League champion and make a great discovery. Did you make a great discovery to guard this shit? What gives you the right? I had never done these post-game quests, so I had no idea what I was doing. The amount of times I had to pause the timer to check what to do was atrocious, and the amount of mistakes I made was also terrible. But the worst part was there were all these trainers I ran into that, in retrospect, I could have used to grind the guys I used the bikers for. Did that sentence make sense? Anyway, I hated running into them, not only for the time loss, but also because of their teams. They wanted to show off that you can catch Gen 2 and 3 Pokemon now that you're post-game, but all it does is cause rage-inducing moments like this. Why do you have a level 48 Sunkern? Why do you have 2 level 47 Hoppips? I understand Rocket Grunt's still having Rattatas at this level, they've always been dumb. What's your excuse? After all this random bullshit, we finally finished the side quest, getting us access to Cerulean Cave and making it so we can catch our final Pokedex entry, Mewtwo. We stopped the timer at 29 hours, 37 minutes, 24 seconds, and 16 milliseconds. In-game time stops at 27 hours and 40 minutes. The in-game timer and my timer are super off, like I said at the beginning, for numerous reasons. I mostly care about the in-game time. I'm confident that if I did this run again, I'd get sub 24 hours, but I'm not going to do that right away. Maybe in the future if you guys want to see it. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, like, comment what you want me to do. I plan on continuing this game file and trying to complete a shiny living dex. I don't plan on recording that, but if anyone is interested, let me know. I'd be down to stream the process too. My next project I plan on doing is playing and ranking every Nintendo game that's ever been released. Does it sound like hell? Yes. Will I actually finish it? Maybe. Also, again, if you're not happy with the missing day of catching Articuno, just add 1 to the counter and make it 20 days total. Thanks for watching, have a nice day. Hey everyone, Editor Goob here. It took a while to edit this full thing, not even because it was that difficult, just because I put it off for like a year. But it's done, it's uploaded, and I am down to do that, rating every Nintendo game if everybody would like to see that. I have the first games downloaded, just have to play and record some stuff. I did start the Shiny Living Dex in this save file. I got Bulbasaur after only 233 resets. I promise you that's the earliest shiny that we get here. Ivysaur came in at 2683. Venusaur came in at 2948. Charmander came in at 7788. That was annoying. And then Charmeleon came in at 77.29. I'm currently grinding for the Charizard. I'm somewhere in the 8,400 range, which, if anyone doesn't know, the shiny rate is 8,192. So getting above that means that you got pretty unlucky. But yeah, tell me what you guys want to see, and I will be sure to do it. Everybody have a good day.